The unexpected arrival. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as the massive doors slid open. No fanfare announced the arrivals, only the steady rhythm of boots against polished stone. A 1,000-year-old chamber, with its vaulted ceiling depicting the unified stars of peace, had never witnessed an entrance quite like this. 3 humans walked in. Commander Mira Chen led the trio, her posture military straight despite the fatigue etched into her face. A jagged scar ran from her left temple to jawline, still pink and new. Behind her followed Admiral Santos, an older man with silver-streaked hair and eyes that had seen too much death. The third human, Lieutenant Park, carried a battle rifle slung across his back, a clear violation of Council protocol. No one objected. "This is highly irregular," whispered High Counselor Philip of the Acrinian Confederation, his translucent skin pulsing with blue anxiety patterns. "They weren't invited. They have no standing." "And yet here they are," replied Counselor Xandri of the Elorian Republic, her 4 eyes narrowing. "After what they did to the Seraph Dominion, would you be the one to turn them away?" Commander Chen strode directly to the center of the chamber, stopping at the speaker's circle, a place reserved for officially recognized ambassadors. Another breach of protocol. She looked up at the tiered rings of council representatives, her gaze unflinching. "My name is Commander Mira Chen, Earth Defense Force," she announced, her voice carrying through the chamber without technological amplification. "Humanity was never invited to join this council. We were never deemed worthy of your protection or even your acknowledgement." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Chen waited for it to subside. 3 standard years ago, when the Seraph Dominion entered our system with invasion fleets, we sent distress signals to this council. Her voice hardened. Those signals were ignored. We were told our species was too primitive, too volatile for council intervention. The Illuvian delegate rose from his seat, his crystalline form glittering under the chamber lights. "This is outrageous. You cannot simply appear." "Sit down," Chen said, not raising her voice. Something in her tone, perhaps the absolute certainty that she would be obeyed, made the Illuvian slowly return to his seat. Admiral Santos stepped forward, activating a holographic display. The chamber filled with images of Earth, burning cities, orbital bombardments, desperate ground battles. "The Seraph hit us with everything," Santos said, his voice gravelly from smoke inhalation he'd suffered months ago. 3 billion dead in the first wave. No declarations, no demands for surrender. Just slaughter. The images shifted to show human forces rallying, makeshift weapons, converted civilian ships, ground forces fighting with whatever they could salvage. "We didn't have your advanced shield technology," Chen continued. "We didn't have your antimatter cannons or your jump drives. What we had was desperation and a refusal to die quietly." The next series of images made several council members flinch. Humans in battle-scarred armor fought Seraph troops hand-to-hand in the ruins of cities. Civilian ships converted to kamikaze drones targeted Seraph destroyers. The tactics were brutal, effective, and utterly without mercy. "The Seraph expected us to fall in days," Chen said. "We lasted months. Then we started pushing back." The final image showed the remnants of the once mighty Seraph fleet retreating from Earth orbit, pursued by cobbled-together human vessels. "Last week, we found this in the wreckage of a Seraph command ship," Chen said, as Lieutenant Park stepped forward, opening a sealed container. Inside lay a council authorization document, its authentication markers unmistakable. The Seraph had explicit permission to pacify the human problem. Chen's voice was ice. "Permission granted by this very council." Chaos erupted in the chamber. Allegations flew, denials were shouted, and several delegates began urgent communications with their homeworlds. Chen raised her hand, and remarkably, the noise subsided. "We're not here to join your council," she said. "We're here to inform you that humanity has survived your attempt to erase us. We're here to tell you that Earth is now a sovereign power in this sector, and we will defend ourselves against all threats, including those that come with Council authorization. High Counselor Philip rose slowly, his skin now pale with shock. Commander Chen, I assure you, many of us had no knowledge of any authorization. I don't care, Chen interrupted. Your ignorance or complicity makes little difference to the dead. What matters now is what comes next. She turned to address the entire chamber. Humanity brings two messages today. First, to any species that considers Earth a target, the Seraph learned what happens to those who attack us. We don't recommend following their example. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. Second, to those who wish for peaceful relations, we are open to alliances, trade, and cultural exchange, but only with those who recognize us as equals, not primitives to be managed or eliminated. Admiral Santos activated another holographic display, showing the coordinates of human outposts established throughout the sector. Many counselors gasped at how far humanity had already expanded in just 3 years. We've established these outposts as forward bases, Chen explained, not for conquest, but for early warning. We will not be caught unprepared again. Lieutenant Park stepped forward, placing a small device on the floor. It projected a 3-dimensional map of known space, with particular focus on Seraph territory. The Seraph are regrouping, Park said, his voice clinical. They're preparing a counter-offensive not just against Earth, but against any species that might stand with us. We have details of their plans, battle formations, and targets. Chen's eyes swept across the chamber. This information is now yours. Consider it a gesture of good faith. What you do with it is your choice, but know this, with or without your help, humanity will survive. In the back of the chamber, a delegate from the Krell Imperium, a species known for their warrior culture, began to laugh. The sound was unsettling, like stones grinding together. The universe has a sense of humor after all, the Krell delegate rumbled. The council ignored the humans because they were too violent, too unpredictable. Now those very qualities have made them the strongest newcomers in generations. Chen didn't acknowledge the comment. Instead, she turned to leave. Commander, called Counselor Xandri. The council traditionally votes on recognition of new species. There are procedures. Chen paused at the threshold. We're not asking for recognition, Counselor. We've already taken it. The galaxy has changed. Adapt or be left behind. With that, the 3 humans departed, leaving behind a council in disarray and the beginnings of a new galactic order. After the humans left, the council chamber remained silent for several minutes. Then, like a dam breaking, voices erupted everywhere. They can't be serious, sputtered the Varaxian delegate, mandibles clicking in agitation. 3 years from primitive status to challenging the council. It's preposterous. Is it? Countered Counselor Xandri. Did you see their battle footage? What they lack in technology, they make up for in tactical innovation and sheer determination. The Krell delegate moved to the center of the chamber, his massive frame casting shadows. The humans remind me of my ancestors, cornered, outnumbered, yet victorious through will alone. I propose we recognize Earth immediately. High Counselor Theliv's skin flashed warning patterns, and reward their flagrant disregard for our protocols. What message would that send to other emerging species? A better message than the one we apparently sent to the Seraph. Xandri replied sharply. That document was authentic. Someone in this chamber authorized genocide. Accusations flew across the chamber as ancient alliances fractured under the weight of this revelation. The galaxy was changing, faster than anyone had anticipated, with humanity as the catalyst. Outside the council chamber, Commander Chen and her team were already boarding their ship, a retrofitted vessel they'd named Phoenix. Think they got the message? Admiral Santos asked, settling into his command chair. Chen looked back at the council spire, its architecture designed to inspire awe in visitors. Once she might have been impressed. Now she saw only a monument to complacency. They heard us, she replied. Whether they understood is another matter entirely. Lieutenant Park checked his tactical display. Multiple vessels breaking orbit. Commander, looks like our visit has everyone scrambling. Chen nodded. Set course for Outpost Sentinel. We've shown them our resolve. Now let's see who reaches out and who prepares for war. As the Phoenix lifted from the Council world, Chen knew the real work was just beginning. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy. Now they needed to secure their future in it. Far from Earth, aboard the Seraph command carrier Inevitable Dominance, War Patriarch Cosette watched recordings of the human delegation's council appearance. His scaled skin darkened with rage as he witnessed these primitives, creatures his forces should have exterminated, standing defiant before the galaxy's powers. How did they find the authorization document? He demanded, crushing a datapad in his clawed hand. His second-in-command, Sub-Patriarch Venera, kept a cautious distance. Unknown, War Patriarch. The command ship Ruthless Subjugation was completely destroyed. They must have recovered fragments. Cosette hissed. It changes nothing. Prepare the second-wave fleets. The humans have revealed their outposts to the Council. Now we know exactly where to strike. Venera hesitated. The Council may respond differently this time. The humans have provided evidence of our plans. The Council deliberates while we act, Cosette replied. By the time they decide on a response, the humans will be ash and memory. What neither the Council nor the Seraph fully comprehended was just how deeply humanity's emergence had already changed the galactic balance. Across countless worlds, species that had lived under the shadow of Council indifference or Seraph aggression watched the recordings of Commander Chen's address with growing interest. A new possibility had entered the galaxy, the possibility of defiance, of survival against overwhelming odds. And in that possibility lay the seeds of either unprecedented cooperation or devastating war. Echoes of war and promise. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire through dry brush. On 1,000 worlds, beings gathered around communication arrays, watching recordings of Commander Chen's appearance before the Council. Reactions varied wildly. Fear, hope, outrage, admiration. But no one remained indifferent. 3 days after humanity's dramatic entrance, the Council remained in emergency session. The chamber, once a place of measured diplomacy and careful procedure, had transformed into a battleground of words and alliances. The evidence is undeniable, declared Councillor Xandri, her voice carrying through the tumult. The authorization bearing Council seals was genuine. Someone among us gave the Seraph permission to eradicate humanity. High Councillor Theliv's translucent skin pulsed with distress patterns. Our internal investigation continues, but preliminary findings suggest the authorization was issued through Councillor Vexhar's office. All eyes turned to the empty seat where the Seraph delegate would normally sit. Vexhar had mysteriously departed the Council world hours after the human delegation's appearance. Convenient, rumbled the Krell delegate. The guilty flee while we debate semantics. Meanwhile, the humans wait for our response, and the Seraph almost certainly prepare for renewed hostilities. In a private chamber adjoining the Council hall, Commander Chen sat across from 3 alien representatives. The Krell emissary, General Drock, loomed like a mountain of muscle and armor. Beside him, the elegant Ambassador Lyriel of the Elorian Republic maintained perfect poise despite the tension. The third, a Voxian trader named Mikarin, fidgeted nervously, 6-fingered hands constantly in motion. "Let's be direct," Chen said, leaning forward. "Your government sent you to assess humanity's position. I'm here to make it simple. We want allies, not masters. Equals, not patrons." General Drock's laugh rumbled like distant thunder. Spoken like a true warrior. "The Krell Imperium respects strength. Commander, your victory over the Seraph has earned our attention. Respect is not alliance," Ambassador Lyriel noted, her 4 eyes analyzing Chen's every micro-expression. "The Elorian Republic needs assurances that aligning with humanity won't bring the Seraph down upon us." Chen smiled thinly. "The Seraph are coming regardless. Our intelligence confirms they're already mobilizing a second invasion force, larger than the first. Mikrin's nervous fidgeting intensified. This is exactly why the Voxian consortium hesitates. We're traders, not warriors. The Seraph would crush us. Not if they're too busy being crushed themselves, Chen replied. She activated a holographic projector, displaying detailed battle plans. This is Operation Preemptive Strike. In 2 standard days, Earth forces will hit 7 key Seraph military installations simultaneously. The 3 aliens stared at the display with varying degrees of shock. You're attacking the Seraph directly. Mikrin's voice rose several octaves. That's suicide. That's survival, Chen corrected. We're not waiting for them to bring the fight to us again. General Drock studied the tactical displays with newfound respect. Bold, perhaps foolish, but bold. The Seraph outmatch you in technology and numbers. They outmatched us last time too, Chen said evenly. We're still here. They lost half their invasion fleet. Ambassador Lyriel's gaze was calculating. What do you want from us, Commander? You clearly didn't share these plans merely for our opinion. Chen's expression hardened. Intelligence, supply routes, safe harbors for our wounded. We don't expect you to fight our battles, but we need to know who stands with humanity and who stands aside. And those who stand against you? Mikrin asked hesitantly. Chen didn't answer immediately. The silence spoke volumes. Meanwhile, aboard the Phoenix, Admiral Santos reviewed the latest intelligence reports with Lieutenant Park and newly promoted Captain Rice, a former civilian engineer who designed the makeshift weapons that had turned the tide in Earth's defense. The Seraph are gathering here, and here, Park indicated on the tactical display. Their main fleet is assembling at Kexmoor, just beyond the Shattered Reach. Rice studied the formations. Their defenses are focused outward. They're preparing for invasion, not defense. They don't expect us to strike first. Santos nodded. That's our advantage. A communication alert flashed. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth Command, reported the communications officer. The holographic image of General Helena Vega, Supreme Commander of Earth's Unified Defense Forces, appeared. Her expression was grim. Admiral, our deep space monitors have detected unusual activity in Sector 87. The Seraph appear to be activating an ancient weapon platform. Analysis suggests it's precursor technology. Santos exchanged alarmed glances with his officers. The precursors, a long-vanished species whose technological artifacts were scattered throughout the galaxy, had been advanced beyond current understanding. What kind of weapon? Santos asked. Unknown, but energy readings are off the charts, General Vega replied. If the Seraph control precursor weapons, Operation Preemptive Strike may be insufficient. Santos' expression darkened. We need to inform Commander Chen immediately. Back in the meeting room, Chen was concluding her discussions when Admiral Santos' urgent message arrived. She read it silently, her expression unchanging, though her knuckles whitened as she gripped the datapad. Commander, Ambassador Lyriel inquired, noting the subtle shift in the human's demeanor. Chen made a split-second decision. The situation has escalated. The Seraph have accessed precursor technology, specifically a weapon platform of unknown capabilities. General Drock's expression grew solemn. The Council has strict protocols about precursor artifacts. None may be weaponized. Clearly, the Seraph aren't concerned with Council protocols, Chen replied dryly. This changes our operational timeline. We need to move faster. The General's massive head inclined slightly. The Krell Imperium has extensive intelligence on precursor sites. We may be able to provide tactical assistance. The Elorian Republic has the most advanced shield technology in the quadrant, Ambassador Lyriel added after a moment's calculation. If this weapon is as powerful as suggested, such defenses may prove crucial. Even Mikrin straightened. The Voxian Consortium maintains trade routes throughout Seraph space. Our shipping manifests could identify supply vulnerabilities. Chen studied each of them. Are you offering alliance, then? Alliance is a formal process requiring council approval. Lyriel demurred. But mutual assistance between sovereign powers, that requires no permission. On the council floor, debate continued to rage. High Councilor Philip struggled to maintain order as accusations flew and factions formed. The Seraph delegation remained conspicuously absent. We've received disturbing reports, announced Councilor Ziv of the Arcadian Collective, his mechanical voice cutting through the chaos. Seraph military vessels have been observed at a restricted precursor site in Sector 87. The chamber fell silent. If verified, Philip said carefully, this would constitute a grave violation of the Precursor Technologies Treaty. All council members are prohibited from activating or weaponizing precursor artifacts. The Seraph clearly believe themselves beyond our laws, Sandri observed. First genocide, now forbidden weapons. Where does it end? The Krell delegate rose. The Krell Imperium formally proposes recognition of Earth as a sovereign power and condemns Seraph aggression. Shocked murmurs swept through the chamber. The Krell rarely involve themselves in council politics, preferring isolation to entanglement. The Elorian Republic seconds this proposal, announced Xandri, to further guests of surprise. The Voxian Consortium adds its support, came another voice, though less confidently. Philip's skin flickered with confusion patterns. This is highly irregular. There are procedures, assessments, which failed to protect humanity before, interrupted the Krell delegate. The galaxy changes, Counselor. The Council must change with it or become irrelevant. As the Council argued, events moved swiftly elsewhere. On the Phoenix, Commander Chen rejoined her team, bringing the representatives from the Krell, Elorian, and Voxian delegations with her. The timeline has accelerated, she announced, striding onto the bridge. The Seraph are activating a precursor weapon. We're launching Operation Preemptive Strike immediately. Our forces are spread across 7 targets. Admiral Santos objected. We need time to consolidate. We don't have time, Chen replied. But we have friends. She gestured to the 3 aliens who had accompanied her. General Drock will provide Krell intelligence on the precursor site. Ambassador Lyriel is arranging for Elorian shield technology to be transferred to our vessels. And Mikren has provided Seraph supply routes that we can target to cripple their logistics. Lieutenant Park looked skeptical. That's a lot of sudden goodwill from species that ignored us when the Seraph first attacked. Self-interest is a powerful motivator, Chen acknowledged. The Seraph have frightened them more than we have. For now, that's enough. Captain Rice examined the new intelligence. With these supply route vulnerabilities, we could redirect the Osprey and Harrier strike teams to hit their logistics instead of their military installations, cripple their ability to sustain operations. Make it happen, Chen ordered. As preparations accelerated, a new transmission arrived. From Earth. Commander, General Vega's holographic image appeared, her expression grave but determined. The home fleet is mobilizing. We're not waiting for the Seraph to bring that weapon online. Chen nodded. Understood, General. The Phoenix will rendezvous with Earth forces at these coordinates. We've secured some unexpected allies. Let's hope they're worth their word, Vega replied skeptically. Earth command out. Across the galaxy, disparate forces began to move with purpose. Human vessels, once civilian transports now converted to warships, broke orbit from hidden bases. Krell battle cruisers, ancient and scared but immensely powerful, emerged from their secretive enclaves. Elorian carriers, sleek and advanced, prepared shipments of shield technology. Even Voxian trader ships altered their routes, carrying critical intelligence instead of luxury goods. In the council chamber, debate had given way to action. By a narrow margin, Earth had been officially recognized as a sovereign power, the fastest recognition in council history. More importantly, a resolution condemning Seraph violations of the Precursor Technologies Treaty had passed overwhelmingly. A fleet will be dispatched to investigate these allegations, High Councilor Philip announced. If confirmed, the Seraph will face sanctions and possible military intervention. Too little, too late, murmured Sandry to her aides. By the time our investigation concludes, this conflict will be decided one way or another. Aboard the Seraph command carrier Inevitable Dominance, War Patriarch Kozit received disturbing reports. Human vessels approaching Kexmore, War Patriarch, reported a subordinate. Multiple signatures detected. They appear to be on an attack vector. Kozit hissed in disbelief. They dare attack us directly, after barely surviving our first assault. There's more, the subordinate continued nervously. We're detecting Krell signatures among them, and Elorian, possibly others. Rage contorted Kozit's features. Impossible. The Council would never authorize. They've recognized Earth as a sovereign power, interrupted Sub-Patriarch Venra, entering with fresh intelligence. And they're sending an investigative fleet to the precursor site. For the first time, doubt crept into Kozit's mind. The weapon wasn't fully operational yet. If the humans struck now with unexpected allies, launch all available vessels, he commanded. Accelerate the weapon activation sequence. We'll destroy them all in one blast. But as alarms blared throughout the Seraph fleet, a new report arrived. Human strike teams had already hit 3 key supply depots, crippling the logistics network that would sustain a prolonged engagement. In the cold vastness of space, the Phoenix led a combined fleet toward the precursor site. On the bridge, Commander Chen stood alongside representatives of species that, days earlier, had considered humans primitive and unworthy. Seraph Defense Fleet detected, reported Lieutenant Park. Numbers significantly lower than intelligence predicted. They appear to be in disarray. The supply depot strikes are working, Admiral Santos observed. They're scrambling to adjust. Chen's gaze remained fixed on the tactical display, where a massive precursor structure loomed, an ancient ring-shaped platform orbiting a dead star. "What's the weapon's status?" she asked. "Energy readings still climbing," Captain Rice replied. "I estimate 70% activation." Chen turned to Ambassador Luriel. "Are your shield modifications integrated into our fleet?" The Elorian nodded, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "The primary vessels are protected. Whether it will be enough against precursor technology, that we cannot know. We'll find out soon enough," Chen said grimly. She opened a fleet-wide channel. "All vessels, this is Commander Chen. The Seraph tried to exterminate humanity once. They failed. Now they seek a weapon that could threaten not just Earth, but all our worlds. Today, we end that threat together." She paused, looking at the diverse bridge crew around her. Humans who had survived apocalypse standing alongside aliens who had once dismissed them. Attack pattern Omega. Hit them with everything we have. As the combined fleet surged forward, the Seraph rushed to complete the weapons activation. War Patriarch Kozit watched in mounting horror as his carefully laid plans collapsed under the weight of humanity's audacity and the unexpected alliance they'd forged. How? He demanded of no one in particular. How did they turn enemies into allies so quickly? Sub-Patriarch Venra had no answer. The Seraph had always relied on fear and council politics to isolate their targets. Never had they faced a species that simply ignored the established order and forced others to choose sides. On the Phoenix, Chen watched as the battle unfolded, human ingenuity and desperate courage combining with Krell ferocity, Elorian technology, and even Voxian logistical precision. It wasn't a perfect alliance, born as it was from mutual fear and pragmatism, but it was enough. As the precursor platform began to fracture under concentrated fire, Chen realized something fundamental had changed in the galaxy. Humanity hadn't just survived, they had catalyzed a new order. Not through domination or manipulation, but by offering others a choice: stand together or fall alone. The sound of war echoed through the stars, but beneath it lay something else, the first notes of cooperation, of shared purpose. Whether it would grow into lasting peace or fade back into suspicion remained to be seen. But for now, Humanity had done what once seemed impossible. They had arrived on the galactic stage, not as supplicants, but as equals. Not through diplomatic niceties, but through the sounds of war, and the promise of something better beyond it.